Among the world's most modern motorsports facilities, Kansas Speedway opened for business in 2001, some 15 miles west of Kansas City, Kansas, under the ownership of International Speedway Corporation. Originally consisting of a 1.5-mile tri-oval with uniform 15-degree banking, the facility underwent a major revamp in 2012 that resulted in progressive banking of the oval 17 to 20 degrees, along with the addition of a 6-turn road course incorporating a twisty infield section and all but a few hundred feet of the oval. Facility has permanent seating for 72,000 spectators, along with a hotel casino featuring more than 100,000 square feet of gaming space. Kansas Speedway has hosted a variety of motorsports events over the years, including all 3 NASCAR Premier Series, ARCA, Indy Cars, the Grand American Sports Car Series, which utilizes the road course, and lighting was completed in 2011. But maybe some tonight, maybe not right now. It's the Concrete Floors Next Gen Series, and it's coming up next on HBR TV. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Steve Singer with HBR TV. Fresh off a trip to Watkins Glen. They got to thank Andrew Cardinale IV with Pit Stop TV for covering the action last week from Pocono. Big time step up on his part. Really appreciate the help there, getting us through missing a broadcast. I couldn't let it happen, so there we are. But tonight, we're here at Kansas. Track temperature is a very low 66 degrees. Ambient temp 63, relative humidity 64%. Kind of breezy out here in Kansas. It is Kansas after all, 12 miles an hour. Getting ready for 120 laps here tonight. Practice just about wrapped up here at the Speedway. I'll take a quick gander at it. Last week's winner, Mike Rominger, fastest so far, 30.46. The 9 of Harold Decker, second quick. Brad Allison, third. Fourth is Gary Zalpinski. That's my best shot at it. Someone's going to correct me later, I'm sure. Fifth fast is the 4:29 of Paul Witt. He's a 30.5. Practice officially over here. We're going to jump right into the quali session here. See who takes to the Speedway first. And is the number 78 is Zlapinski. I'm going to keep trying. Again, any of you guys watching in the stream chat, give me a heads up. Let me know if I got it right or if I'm way off. Lipinski working, looks like a variation of an old Martin Truex Jr. paint scheme. I think we've seen that here before, earlier on in another race this season. Gary takes the green flag of his first of 2 laps. 5-minute qualifying session, 2 laps to get it done. Curious to see if lap 1 or 2 is going to be the quicker. 78 running that ultra high line, that Larson line on his first timed lap, trying to build some momentum. You got to wonder if that lap number 2 is going to be the quickest. Does he keep it off the wall? No, brushes the safer barrier just a bit. It's going to kill the momentum off turn 4. Lap invalidated. John Schoeneman goes top of the board, though. In the meantime, lap 1, 30.936. Doesn't sit there long as Craig White takes the top spot. His time, 30.69. Schoeneman now drops to third. 49 machine crosses the stripe to complete his qualifying run. Lap 2. Very consistent, but not a whole lot faster. 30.932, a whole 4/1000ths of a second quicker than his first lap around. Mike Rominger, the number 951. Entering turns 3 and 4 here, getting ready to take the green flag. Meanwhile, Paul Witt goes P1, 30.54. These times just keep dropping. Rominger crosses the stripe. First lap, 30.91. Good enough for P6. Swing over to Noel Coors here. Noel's first lap, a 9.91. Lap 2, faster, fourth fast, 30.672. Almost just over a 0.3 of a second pickup for Noel Coors. Norman Clark wraps up here. He's 8th fast, 30.920. We'll go back to Rominger. He's just finishing up lap 2. Gets him done in a hurry. 30.91 the first lap, 30.527. That's the fast lap of the day. Rominger goes P1 on his final lap. Still got a handful of cars out there that haven't taken a time as of yet. In fact, better than half the field, or might be an even split down the middle. Vickery, Lateral, Brad Allison, Larry Boyle, Alan McEwen, Harold Decker, James Randall, Frank Gramuglia. Let's see, Dave Wazelchuk. I'm going to mess that one up a bunch too, guys. And Michael Howlett. None of those drivers taking time in qualifying, opting just to start based on I-rating, which is typically how they're laid out. Not necessarily a bad thing if it just works out. Doesn't put you in the meat of the sandwich. You can kind of go there and avoid the chaos. So we'll wait. Maybe some guys will take to the track. Maybe we're waiting for track temperatures to come down just a bit. Taking a look at that track temperature, 74 degrees, ambient 73. It's gotten a little bit warmer. Before we get too deep into things, though, this is the Concrete Floors Next Gen Series presented by Old Fart Sim Racing and broadcasted by us here at HBR TV. I'm Steve Singer, your broadcaster, producer for the night. Again, special thanks last week at Pocono to Pit Stop TV for coming through as the relief pitcher, so to speak. They're more like the closer, I got to say. They do an excellent job over there. Pit Stop TV, Whiplash Sim Cams across the board. They help us out here on our stream quite a bit, and in this case, filled in for us and did a masterful job. Cannot appreciate them any more than I already have. They really just knocked it out of the park. So with that, qualifying is official. Let's go down to our starting grid. Set the field for today's race here at Kansas Speedway. On the pole position, it's Mike Rominger, last week's winner at Pocono. Lap time of 30.527 seconds. Outside front row, Paul Witt out of Michigan, the number 429. Second row, Gary Zolpinski. Gonna mess it up a lot. Corey Gray is going to start to his outside fourth. Noel Coors, row number 3 in the 15. Craig White in the 3. Out of Canada will start 6th. Joshua Deese in the 5. He rolls off 7th position. Norman Clark out of New Zealand, rolling off in the 8th position, the 09 machine. John Schoeneman, affectionately known as Shuni or Chunny. I had to fix it. It's just making my brain crazy. Starting 10th with Black Car Mafia, it's David Crum. In the number 91, Joseph Green. The number 42 starts 11th. Frank Gramuglia starting in the 20th position. 13th goes to Harold Decker. Earl Lateral starts 14th. 15th starting position, Michael Howlett and Alan McEwen will start 16th. Larry Boyle, number 28 machine, rolls off from the 17th position. James Randall, the 3rd. The number 69 starts 18th. Brad Allison with Brad Allison Racing, the 03. He's going to roll off from the 19th starting position. 20th goes to David Wazelchuk, the 976 entry. Last but not least, shotgun on the field, Chris Vickery, the number 61 out of Florida, starts 21st. That's your starting grid here from Kansas Speedway. Field getting ready to roll out of pit lane. Take one formation lap, one pace lap before we see the green flag. It's coming up next. Field formed up 2 by 2. Pace car lights are off. We will get a green flag this time by pace cars down pit lane, and here they come.
Green flag, green flag. Caution, caution.
Green flag waves. Caution comes out immediately. Really unsure what has triggered this early caution. There's no issue on track that I could see in the wide shot. I don't know if we had a mismatch in the lineup. Really tough to say. If any admin could send me a direct message here in Discord, at least get us caught up as to what triggered this. Again, nobody showing any signs of damage or a crash or anything of the sort. Field rolling awfully slow. We're going to step aside and take a quick break. We'll be right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Kansas Speedway. Caution came out before the cars even crossed the stripe. Might be wondering why, as we didn't see any tire smoke, any slow cars, nothing of the sort, just a minor issue, a glitch, so to speak, with the timing and scoring. Once in a blue moon, it happens. Somebody stepped on the button, put their elbow on the button. It's tough to say exactly, but nevertheless, better to be safe than sorry. Yellow flag comes out. Pace car comes back out. We're going to re-rack them. Do this one more time. We just burned a couple of laps under the caution flag. No worries. It looks to be, yeah, lights are off on the pace car before laps complete when we get the official green flag. This time for sure, don't worry, we'll get it done. I'm not sure if we're going single file here. It appears we're going to go single file restart here. Not exactly sure why, but possibly related to a glitch within the system. We have seen this happen before. Not to worry, we'll get her done. There you have it. Pace car pulls off. This time a green flag.
Green, green, green.
Everybody's scattering on the back straightaway. It appeared to be the 429 of Paul Witt. Loose off turn number 2. Tank slap to tank slap. Saved the car. Got it possibly into the wall. I wasn't sure if he made contact. Everybody scattered, but they all get through it okay. Time to regather themselves and get back into it. Lap 1, lap 5 complete. Lap 4 complete. Still under the green flag. No issues thus far. Mike Rominger at the front of the field where he finished last week at Pocono. 78 of Gary Zlopinski is second. Corey Gray, Craig White, Norman Clark. That's your top 5. Chris Goins in the stream chat. Track must be a little wet. Single file start. Yep, we had a little issue on the start. Don't know if you caught it there, Chris, but the yellow flag came out as soon as the green came out. No crash, no issue, just a timing and scoring snafu, so to speak. But we're back underway. Everything looking sharp here at the front of the field. Rominger has the lead, but less than a car back to the 78. Got Quick Esports chiming in from the Facebook side. Broadcast looks great. Certainly appreciate that, guys. Continue to watch this battle up front. Hot and heavy. Gary Zlopinski in the 78. Lap 8 goes up on the board. We ride aboard the number 78 machine of Gary Zlopinski. Trying to hunt down the 951 of Mike Rominger. Goins, another comment in the YouTube stream chat. Interesting to see the Larson line this early. Chris, we saw it in qualifying, so there's definitely some guys here that have it figured out. Those of you that might be new to this might have no idea what the Larson line is or who Kyle Larson is. First of all, climb out from under the rock. Second of all, the Larson line is the top. Very often used by dirt drivers as kind of the cushion. You can build a lot of momentum up top. That's certainly the case here. It is the long way around, but the miles per hour is certainly greater if you can run that. The disadvantage is one small mistake. If you got to wiggle the car just to save it ever so slightly, chances are you're going to put the right side in that safer barrier, damage the car, and likely end your chances at a win. So it's a risk worth taking, but it's definitely not without possible consequences. Rominger still with the lead. Zlopinski second. Corey Gray, Craig White, Paul Witt still your top 5. Top four pretty tight knit. Top two definitely right together. Still a car length, maybe two, between the 951 of Rominger and the 78 of Zlipinski. Corey Gray and Craig White third and fourth. Craig White there in the third, losing some ground off of four. Don't know if there was a wiggle there, but certainly that gap extended out significantly just through the tri-oval. Fifth place, Paul Witt. Talked about him earlier on. I think it was the completion of lap one, at least our first green flag lap. Real loose off turn number two. Did a masterful job trying to save that car, keep it out of trouble, off the wall and out of, well, the front grills of everybody behind him. Still manages to hang on to the fifth spot. Just going to kind of cruise around here, work on some strategy for the balance of the race. Wiggle looked like from Norman Clark back in the sixth position. He's got Noel Coors coming up the backside here. Coors typically running a number 15. It doesn't want to show up tonight. Not exactly sure what the deal with that is. We'll try and reload the overlay, or the textures at least, later on. See if we can get that corrected. Possibly running a stamped style paint, but with a custom number upload is my guess. But either way, we'll get it squared away. So watch Norman Clark here in the sixth position, the 09. Top two still nice and close. Positions 3 and 4 waiting for an opportunity. See if these guys can make a mistake. Give them the top two positions. Gotta tell you, loving this paint scheme, the number 42 of Joseph Green. Definitely a lot of STP Richard Petty influence there. Running the 42, not a 43. Looks pretty sharp on that next gen car. Just up ahead of Joe Green, though, it's Frank Ramuglia and Alan McEwen. McEwen in the 45, just ahead. Looking at David Crum here. This is the number 91 machine. James Randall just behind the number 69 Ford. A lot of these guys have some really just creative and interesting paint schemes. Nice to see. Not just running your typical run-of-the-mill style paint jobs. They're creative. Hanna-Barbera going on here. Back up front, Mike Rominger starting to stretch it out just a bit. He's got just under a half-second advantage over the 78 of Zlipinski. Corey Gray, Craig White, Paul Witt, still the same top five. Everybody kind of hanging tough, taking care of their equipment so they can be around for this thing at the end. Series officials giving the drivers unlimited tire sets over the pit wall tonight. Tire is certainly not going to be a factor, at least as far as running out or trying to plan that strategy. Guys can certainly make an opportunity out of it if they can, if they want to. Decide to take 2 tires or no tires just for the track position, but then you got to worry about those fast guys in the back with fresh rubber later on in the race. So strategy abound, but no one's going to run out of rubber. 100% fuel load on board, so we're going to need fuel before we finish this out. But a lot of leagues will restrict the amount of fuel that the tanks will hold. This one, not the case. Straight up racing here in Old Farts. And the drivers all offered 2 fast repairs if need be. And we will go to 2 green-white checkered finishes. Again, if necessary. We obviously won't do it if we don't need them, but they are there as a backup plan. I know we used them last week at Pocono as the last, 10, 15, 20 laps of that one. Very eventful. Lipinski slowly losing ground.
Caution, sorry, caution.
And caution is on the speedway. Not exactly sure. This might be the stage break. Yeah, lap 25. So your stage 1 winner, Mike Rominger. Shortened stage due to the timing and scoring issue at the very beginning with the caution coming out inadvertently. Certainly did not affect the on-track product by any stretch of the imagination. So with that first caution, we are going to step aside here, take a short break, and we'll be back after this. Stay with us. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Kansas Speedway. Just wrapping up stage 1. Pit stops complete. Getting ready to go back under the green flag here momentarily. Sun beginning to set on the speedway as we roll into darkness. Track lights will come on. Temps will come down. Speeds will go up. It's going to be a good one here at the speedway for sure. Pace car lights are off, which means we will go to the green flag the next time by. Pace car peels off.
Green flag.
Green flag waves once again, and we're back underway from Kansas Speedway. Mike Rominger out to a big advantage. Not a big advantage, just a quick advantage. Not so much now. The 78 of Zlopinski goes to the outside, carrying a little bit of momentum. We'll see what he can do with it off turn number 2. Drivers roll down the back straightaway. The 3 of Craig White tucks in behind. Rominger tucks in behind the 78, moves him back to the second spot. Gary Zlopinski back out front with the lead here, coming to the stripe. Lap 30 will go up on the board. Rominger going back to the inside, trying to take the lead back into turns 3 and 4. Does he have enough to clear him off the corner? Looks like he does. Battling back up top, though, Zlopinski trying to carry that momentum he used off turn 4 down through the tri-oval into turn 1. Rominger stays to the bottom. Might have him clear off turn number 2. Two varying lines here. Rominger to the bottom, Zlopinski up top. They're still side by side down the backstretch. They drag race into 3. Rominger jumps back behind the 78, tucks into second place. Craig White back there as well. I think he's checked up just a bit in case these two come together. Now we ride on board roof camera here with Mike Rominger. Trying to settle in, maybe cool those tires. Gave it a shot for a lap or 2. Possibly heated those Goodyears up a bit. Cool them down. Work your way back. He's certainly got more to challenge with. Top 5 cars starting to really stretch out from the rest of the field. See your top 5 all in frame there just for a moment. Gary Zlopinski, Rominger, Craig White, Paul Witt. Now Earl Lateral up into the top 5 as well. Earl's made some moves here. He's passed 9 cars since the drop of the green flag. Zlopinski continues to lead. Rominger starting to close back in. It's not even a half car length at this point through turns 1 and 2. The deficit just under 2 tenths. They work off turn number 2. Rominger again starting to close back in. Looked Like Rominger slipped a bit, might have put the right side in the safer barrier. It's going to open the door for Craig White off of turn number 4. Rominger stays in the throttle. It's going to allow Lipinski to kind of scoot away just a bit. Craig White, though, still trying to take advantage on the bottom, trying to take the second spot away. It's tight off the corner, but he gets clear. Craig White takes the second spot over Mike Rominger. Lipinski continues to lead, but a new second place car. It's Craig White. Rominger now back to third. Paul Witt closing down now. Witt runs fourth. Earl Lateral still in the 5th spot. Gary Lipinski currently the fastest car on the racetrack. His best lap this evening, 30.68 seconds. It's about a full 10th faster than the next guy in line. That's Craig White. Mike Rominger, 30.74. Paul Witt, 30.79. Earl Lateral, 30.80. Some really quick times here at the front of the field. It explains why the top 5 are starting to stretch things out over the rest of the field. Raw speed is the answer. Lipinski out by a half second over Craig White. About 10 laps away from our second stage of the evening. Mike Rominger won stage 1. We'll see if Lipinski can hang on here and win stage 2. These all important points that can be accrued. Of course, they want to win the race, but winning stages, getting those stage points certainly help, certainly make a difference. Man, they're real close to that wall off turn number 4. Craig White inches away from the safer barrier on exit, and I think Lipinski wasn't a whole lot farther away than that. Did Lipinski catch a piece of the wall there? It looked like he might have. Certainly slowed him off the corner. Craig White's closing down fast. He's going to make a move to the inside into turn number 1. Lipinski might be giving up the top spot. Saw Chris Goins talk about it in the stream chat early on. Riding that high lane really burns up the tires quick in these next-gen Cup cars. Might be what's going on here with the 78 as he can't keep the thing turning off the corner. Still dedicated to the top side, though. We watch the 78. We'll see if he can stay off the wall. Craig White slides up and makes contact with the leader. He saves it. Craig White through the grass. He's in the wall. Caution might be coming out here. No, he continues to get it straightened out. Right front damage, though, on the Craig White machine. Sparks flying from behind the number 3. Was going for the top spot. Slid it up the racetrack. Almost wrecked himself and the leader. In this case, it was just him catching a piece of the wall here. Front end damage, right front broken. He's going to have to make the pit road here at the end of this stage. He will be able to get it fixed, but likely going to lose a lap in this exchange. Tough break, slides up the banking again. Just can't get that car to turn after that impact. Yeah, you see that right front. Definitely broke something, possibly a toe link. You want a little bit of negative camber, that's just way too much. something definitely amiss, something broken in that front suspension of Craig White. Again, he'll roll down pit lane here, get that fast repair. Likely, at this point, see if he changes tires or not. Misses the box. Things going from bad to worse for Craig White. Yep, going to do the tire change as well. We're nearing the end of the stage. You're going to get the caution here shortly, so if he loses 2 laps, which he might, at least he'll be able to get 1 of them back. Leaders are off turn number 4 here. This is the second time around, so yeah, Craig's going to lose 2 laps. From P2 to 2 down, Craig White was going for the lead here. After a near miss with Gary Zlipinski, Gary got a piece of the wall, slowed his momentum, opened the door for Craig White. Craig tried to get around, really drove it into turns 3 and 4, and unfortunately slid up the racetrack, made contact with the 78. Zlipinski continued on, seemed to not really bother his car a bit, but Craig White, on the other hand, got the raw deal of it for sure. Got into the grass, then into the outside safer barrier, and lots of damage, and now 2 laps down, running in the 17th position. Now Zlipinski's got a 1.8 second advantage over the second place running Paul Witt. So he can probably just kind of take it easy here, take care of the car, get it to the end of the stage, to the stage win. He's going to do just that. Craig White, though, is the first car a lap down. So he will get at least 1 lap back here. Oh, Craig White's going to go by. Looks like Zlipinski's slowed up just a bit.
How's my radio been today? Could you
Good sport there. Zlipinski gives 1 lap back. So this means that Craig White should get the lucky dog, and that would put him back on the lead lap. With him getting by the 78 there before the stripe at the stage end, put him 1 lap down. So now he's 1 lap down with the caution coming out. There's the lucky dog. That'll put him back at the tail end of the lead lap. So there you have it. Stage 2 complete. Got it done in a hurry. Gary Zlipinski, your stage winner. Rominger second, Witt third, Nolcours fourth, Harold Decker was 5th. Pace car exiting pit lane here, picking up the field on the back straightaway as we step aside for a quick break and a word from Whiplash Media and Whiplash SimCams. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Kansas Speedway, the Old Fart Sim Racing Concrete Floors Company Next Gen Cup Series. Man, it's a mouthful, but we're trying to get it done here. Trying to get into a rhythm here with this new league. These guys are quick, that's for certain. Finishing up second stage here. Gary Lipinski is your stage winner. A little bit of fireworks there later on in the stage between himself and Craig White. Made some contact. Craig had a crash after that. Got some repairs made with the fast repair. Luckily enough, he had the leader let him slow up a little bit and let him go by, get him back one lap down, and then likely I think he's going to get, or already has received, the lucky dog. Pace car light's still on, so likely going to get the one to go the next time by. I think this is the lap 54. Pace car lights should go out. There you have it. Lights are off on the iRacing pace car, so one more time around to be lap 55. We'll get the green flag back in the air. Racing back underway is Lipinski, Rominger, Witt, Decker, Coors, your top five. Then it's Alan McEwen, Norman Clark, Frank Gramuglia, Michael Howlett, and Earl Laterell. That's the balance of the top 10. Then further down, 11th, James Randall. The 3rd, Larry Boyle. In 12th, John Schoeneman. 13th, Joe Green, 14th. Joshua Deese, 15th. Craig White back to 16th. David Crum, 17th. And Corey Gray listed 18th. I don't think he is on the track. His last lap was the beginning of lap 26. So here we are again, field getting formed up 2 by 2. Haven't heard from a whole lot of you guys tonight. Got a few of you watching in the YouTube and Facebook streams. If you got something to say, who you're cheering for, where you're watching from, we'd love to hear from you. It is just me up here in the booth. It gets a little lonely.
Green flag.
Green flag waves. Gary Lipinski in the throttle. Mike Rominger to the outside. Paul Witt there in behind the low lane. Harold Decker to the outside there. And the 15 of Noel Coors. We know it's the 15 because that's what it says in the timing. Don't look at the doors. Haven't got that straightened out. No big deal. The 78, though, out to a good advantage. Rominger going to the high side, trying to build some momentum down the back straightaway. Can't get away too far. Paul Witt there right to the back door. Coors slowed quite a bit. Not sure if he got a piece of the wall or just had a white knuckle moment there off of turn 4. Oh, real loose is Witt off the corner. He saves it. Little fishtail. We saw that at the start early on. Cold tires. Lots of oversteer in these race cars. Stay with Paul Witt here in the 3rd position for a moment. See how he gets off turn 2 this time around. Let's ride on board and see what he's dealing with behind the wheel of that number 429 Ryobi 1 Plus machine.
Caution somewhere. Caution.
Caution on the speedway. Not sure what we've got going on here. I don't see any incidents once again. Neil Quick, hang on, brother. Here we go. Earl Laterell, Larry Boyle, it looks like, having an issue on track. Ooh, Earl, big issue. Left front towed in pretty bad. Sparks flying out behind that machine. Larry Boyle, left front damage as well. Just about to the halfway point of the race, too. Let's see if we can get a look at it. coming in a little bit late. We'll back it up. Actually, it looks like just about mid-corner. Earl was coming down a bit. The 13 was there. Contact is made. 13 to Frank Gramuglia gets off the throttle, backs out, doesn't get too much of this, but the 42 gets collected, as does the 3. Craig White, tough night going from bad to worse, and then coming in hot, Larry Boyle. Man, a lot of guys getting tied up in this one. Took the 5 of Joshua Deese, gets a big piece, but man, the pinball in this equation was the 12 of Earl Lateral. Real quick, Riley Tool is about to get to work. That's for sure. Tough break for these guys here. Just about halfway, lap 59, the caution comes out. Boyle gets the faster pair and decides to get the tires. Again, unlimited tire sets over the wall, so anytime these guys hit pit lane, they're going to grab a set and they're going to go. So in this case, we haven't had a lot of laps under the green flag, but curious to see how much of an advantage that fresh set is going to be for the 28 of Larry Boyle. Again, Earl Lateral is probably going to do the same thing, but I'm not sure if he lost a lap in that exchange, if he made it back to pit lane without having to tow. But that could be a bit of an equalizer. Again, these guys are at the disadvantage of being in a crash. The caution comes out. As long as they get down pit lane, get that faster pair, and bolt on a new set of tires, they're at the back of the pack, yes, but better rubber. And we've heard a lot of guys talk about how the tire wear on these cars, the fall off, not significant at some tracks. Curious to see. This is going to be our opportunity to watch it and see exactly how bad it is, or not, for that matter. Real quick. Wow, that was big. Brake pedal's the smaller one to the left. I mean, the clutch is pretty small too, but don't hit that one. So, through all that, Mike Rominger is now the leader. Looks like Gary Zlopinski decided he was going to pit. In fact, everybody except for Rominger decided to pit. So that fall off versus new versus old conversation we just talked about with the tires, yeah, we're not going to see a whole lot of that. It's really going to be the test subject, Mike Rominger, staying out on 8-lap older tires roughly, and everybody else behind him with better tires. Rominger seems to be pretty quick, but Zlopinski definitely evenly matched, if not a little bit quicker. See if the fresher tires make that much of a difference and how far back Mike Rominger slips, or if he does at all. We're going to see. Pace car lights are off. Green flag's going to come out. Lap 62. Real quick also in the Facebook stream chat. Tire wear is big here. I like when the drivers pop into the chat and help me out here. Green flag waves are back underway from Kansas Speedway. Just like that, Zlopinski looks to the outside in turn number 3. Rominger goes to the bottom. Cold tires, though. He's in the fence just a bit. Keeps his foot in the throttle. It's going to open the door for Paul Witt. Witt's going to go to the bottom. He's going to try and take that second spot as they cross the stripe. Rominger leads. Zlopinski second. Paul Witt third. And we saw Paul Witt with the fresher tires the last time. The exit of turn number 2 on that first lap. A little hairy until they come up to temperature. Seems to be okay this time. Meanwhile, Rominger actually starting to pull away here with the older tires. Paul Witt and Gary Zlipinski on equal footing. Oh, looks like Witt catches the wall off turn number 2. Again, we've seen these guys do it a couple of times. You'd think we're at Darlington the way they're hitting the safer barrier. Top 3 starting to put some ground on the rest of the field as well. Earl real loose off turn number 2. Earl Laterell almost had another moment on corner exit. Gathers it back up. Maintains the 9th position over Norman Clark. That was close once again. It looks like we're going to bring... Neil Quick has been chatting us up a storm here. Neil Quick is a driver over in the Superior Class Auto Racing Premier Series, as well as an IROC Series and others. He's a fast guy out there, and he's going to pop up into the booth and join me here. We'll pull Neil Quick into the booth, and special guest broadcaster Neil Quick, thanks for joining us. And we lost him. Neil Quick, you got a copy? One more time. Neil Quick, you got a copy?
I got you, Steve.
There we go. All right. Special guest broadcaster Neil Quick up in the broadcast booth. Figure he was chatting up a storm in the stream chat. It's easier to talk than it is to type, so here he is. How you doing, Neil? And I think Neil's having some technical difficulties.
Good, Steve. How are you doing?
Are you getting a real bad delay, Neil? Because it seems like we're a little off sync.
Steve, you got me?
Mic check. Well, we're going to see if we can get it figured out. He is there in our channel, but I can hear him. He clearly can't hear me. Hopefully that doesn't translate over. Everything's working over here, so it is what it is. Meanwhile, Zlipinski's taking over the top spot from Mike Rominger. Happened while we were trying to get our special guest broadcaster up into the booth. Didn't quite pan out. Neil, if you're listening, if you get your things figured out, I don't know if you had me muted, but your mic not muted, just make a mention in the stream chat and we'll pull you back up and give it another go. Meanwhile, let's go back and watch the pass for the lead. Lipinski taking over the top spot from Rominger. Looks like entry to turn number 3. The 78 goes to the bottom. Rominger stays up top. Again, the 951 of Mike Rominger did not take tires at lap 59 like the rest of the field. Held his own pretty well there for a while. There you have it. Off turn 4, clears the 951 and takes over the top spot. Now Rominger's got more company. It's the 429 of Paul Witt. This would be for the second spot. All right, so we're going to give this one more shot here. Neil Quick up in the broadcast booth. Neil, you got a copy now?
Yeah, Steve, I got you this time.
All right, we got her figured out. Neil, thanks for popping in the booth, man. This was unexpected, but good to have you here, and thanks for joining us.
No problem. Just sitting here kind of watching these guys go at it here. Pretty cool.
It's a good series. We've covered a few of the races. I've missed one just for being out of town. We had Pit Stop TV come in and take care of that one for us, but we're trying to do the rest of the season here without any interruptions. So far, so good. Some fast guys up here in the room, so it's fun to watch. These guys are usually pretty damn clean. It tends to be pretty decent racing.
Yeah, absolutely. These next-gen cars here, especially at Kansas, they're stuck pretty good. You can run bottom, top. the biggest thing with them when it becomes a tire wear situation, you almost have to move to the top because they get really tight on you. But these guys are doing a great job, and it's more or less kind of a comparison to kind of what Atlanta has become now. It's really that same type of racing. Pretty crazy, and the cars are really equal and have a couple different lines until the tires do get some tire wear on them and kind of move to the top with them. But pretty cool watching what these guys are doing, and some great saves out here too.
Now, you said that as the tire wear, a lot of these guys try to go up to the top. We saw a lot of these guys running that really high line in the first couple of laps. Is that just more a matter of they got too much wheel in it? If they're on the bottom, they don't want to spin the thing out until they get some heat in the tires?
Basically, I mean, from my past of running this, I try to move to the top, so I'm not wearing the tires from the word go. Even if you're down there for a couple laps, it seems like it really hurts the tires in a long run.
See Noel Kors taking over the second position, slowly but surely moving his way towards the front. Paul Witt slips to third, but Craig White, after all his issues, we see a car loose off turn 2. Craig White in the 3 has made his way back up into the top 5. Frank Gramuglia in the 5th position. Mike Rominger is now slipped to 6th on those older tires. I think we're going to have... Go ahead, Neil.
I think Frank's got me beat on last names for having a cool last name.
Yeah, but with a name like Neil Quick, you got to be fast. Luckily for you, you are. If you were one of the slow guys out there, it just would not work. I think you'd have to give up iRacing altogether.
Yeah, I'd get a pretty good ribbon all the time on it, but unfortunately for me, I've done pretty well. My brother's the one that has to take that recipient and have to deal with that stuff.
Well, Cook Quick has his moments too. I wouldn't say he's a slow guy, but he's right up there with his brother once in a while.
Yeah, it's fun to get to race with Cook, and as most of us. I mean, there's a lot of brothers on the service running the city.
Watching Craig White now into the top 5. Gramuglia is still battling to take that spot away. It's back and forth between the two. White in 4th, Gramuglia in 13th.
Yeah, Frank's working that bottom pretty good there.
Neil, I'm not sure if you're aware, but I do have a live feed set up in the channel. In case you're watching things on a delay, you can watch it live in the Discord.
Okay.
Out front, though, is Lipinski still with the lead. Noel Kors closing in. It's just over half a second back to the 15. Again, it is the 15 in the timing tower. You'll see it up here in the ticker up top, but for whatever reason, Noel Kors' number not appearing on the door of that car. Not sure if he went with a blank, thinking he'd have a sim stamped number, but either way, the sim either didn't stamp it or there's some kind of mismatch. Either way, I'm sure we'll get it straightened out in races going forward. But that is indeed the 15. Noel Kors in the second spot. He's cut a 10.5 into the lead for Lipinski. Off turn number 2 down the back straightaway. It's less than 0.4 of a second. Kors is coming.
Yeah, these guys are definitely clicking off some good laps too. Looking at things here.
Best lap of the day still belongs to Lipinski at 30.68. Last lap around 32.6. Scroll down here and find Mike Rominger. His best lap, last lap 32.89. So he's about 0.3 off leader pace with the older tires. It doesn't seem like much, but when you got guys out here that are as closely matched and as quick as they are, that's quite a bit of time to give up. I believe they're going to have to make a fuel stop before we finish this one out, so it's going to be interesting to see who takes tires. You kind of have to expect Rominger's going to. But these other guys that pit at lap 59, they may have some options. Pit with maybe 2 tires, no tires. Neil, in your experience, maybe you've got some time in the next-gen Cup car here at Kansas Speedway. How do these things handle on a 2-tire change?
They do get loose. The thing is you're going to make sure you want to take full fuel load to try to help prevent it as much of that as you can. But I just ran a race, I would say probably less than a month ago, with the next gen cars here, and again, like I was saying, you really got to conserve the tire. It's really easy to get out there on new tires, go out and hurt them, and you have no choice but to move to the top. But you got to conserve your tires here, especially the right front, because they do get really tight. I've done the 2-tire strategy. In fact, I lost. I got second that night, trying to do that type of situation. But I would definitely say this is a 4-tire type of deal. I'd be screaming not to put 4 tires on it.
Well, it'll even things up. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing for fifth place running Mike Rominger, who's doing a pretty good job staying there in the top 5 on that older set. But nonetheless, I mean, making things even through that tire strategy, I don't know if he's going to have enough time to fight his way back towards the front with those guys all as evenly matched as they are. I mean, best lap times from first down to fifth are all within a tenth, maybe tenth and a half of each other. So that's going to be a tough one if they all run qualifying laps from here on in.
Coming into this a little bit late, are they both, the 2 leaders are on the same pit strategy?
Well, everybody pit on lap 59 with the exception of the fifth place machine. That's Mike Rominger in the 951. He had the lead for a while, held off the field and actually drove away for a little bit. But once they had some tires on it, things kind of equalized. He slid back, lost the lead. He's still hanging on to fifth. But it depends. I mean, he's got pace to stay up in that top 5. Maybe he stretches it a little longer. If the leaders start to pit, maybe he stays out, tries to even things up. I don't know. It's a tough call.
I think he might be sitting on a good strategy, actually. Just kind of looking at the laps and where he's at. You might see him make a late charge here that would flip-flop him and put him in the lead and try to hold these guys off.
You see with a 9-lap tire difference, these guys, the tires may start to kind of even up, and it's not as big of an advantage.
I think so. I mean, really, going back to the past and running, I figured between 9 to 15 laps is where it really, really does start to even up. But again, it just, depends where you're running and what you're doing with the tires. It's, again, the cars are so stuck, and they drive so good here, it's easy to get yourself in a situation to use them up.
Well, while we were talking about strategies and such, Noel Coors has passed Lipinski for the top spot. Let's go back and take a look at it real quick. This is coming to the stripe. He had the run off turn number 4. Looks like Lipinski's going to lead that lap, but going into turn number 1, Coors takes the top spot and begins to drive away.
Yeah, and what I'm seeing definitely tonight watching these guys is some of these guys are getting that middle working really, really well. It's definitely interesting to see the 15 getting to the bottom doing what he's doing. So
Coors started in the 5th position here today. We didn't see him towards the front until, well, really just now. I mean, he worked his way up relatively quickly. Didn't take a whole lot of time to get around the 78, but as he has, he's maintaining about a half-second advantage over him.
yeah, these two both the 2 leaders have got a pretty decent gap on the rest of the guys here. So going to be really interesting to see how this plays out here.
Coors and Lipinski, that gap is pretty well maintained. It's sticking to about half a second. He cuts into it a bit here into turns 3 and 4, just under a half. We'll see if Coors can drive out of 4 and pick up some more time. This is actually, this is turn number 4.
Looks like the 78 is really battling, getting tight, coming off the corners too.
Take a look at the lap times here. Is Lipinski pretty closely matched last couple of laps. Stretch it out a little further. Look at the last 5 overall. It's kind of been back and forth, punch for punch.
He's actually done well at maintaining it, actually, just staying right there.
Lap 90 goes up on the board, completed. 91 has begun, gives us 30 laps to settle it. Question now becomes, on a full tank of fuel, how far do these next-gen cars go at a place like Kansas Speedway? Neil, any idea?
I'm trying to think off a hand, and I'm trying to say somewhere between 35 to 45 laps. But don't quote me. I'm just trying to. I'm an old guy, so to be honest, that memory could be off. But and again, depends what fuel percentages we were running that night in that league race.
Well, I don't know if you're the old guy in this group. It is the Old Fart Sim Racing League for starters, so you're probably the young guy. But if you're the old guy, you belong in the booth. So step out of that race car, will you? Again, we talked about Neil Quick. He's a driver over in the Spirit Class Auto Racing Premier Series as well as the IROC Series. Throwing down some wins. He's got 4 right now over in SCAR. How's things going over in IROC? You got a win there yet?
No, I haven't had a win. I know this past week was running third in points, and went into, I believe, our fourth race of the season, a short track there at Nashville, and was kind of staying in the top 5 or 6 all the way through. And we had one of those cautions breed caution situation there at the end, green white checkers, and unfortunately just innocent bystander. 2 guys got together and come down the track, and next thing I know, I was sitting against the infield wall and eating a hot dog with the guys that were camping in the infield.
Nothing wrong with hot dogs. I had 3 for dinner tonight. Want to show you the differential here, the kind of delta that the new tires versus old is. James Randall here in the number 69. You see him out in front now of Noel Kors. Made short work of himself, Kors, Zlapinski, and driving away. His pit stop was at lap 84, 10 laps ago, compared to the top 2 drivers. They pit at lap 59. 33:09, 33:11, the lap times of the 2 leaders. Randall's last lap, a 31:97. So you now see 31:17 go up on the board. He's moving pretty good.
Yeah, it's just man, it feels so good to get those 4 tires, especially from what I remember here, and the car just feels really good. And like I said, it kind of lulls you into the situation that you want to use more than really you should be using.
Starting to see some other top lead lap cars come to pit lane. This is from 10th spot. Alan McEwen hits the pit lane. We'll take a look. He's likely, as you predicted, Neil, going to take 4 tires and fuel. Misses the box, has to back up just a bit. Right side goes in the air. Kind of got to think with 25 to go, just a matter of time before we start seeing our top 5 drivers peel off. David Crum now from 9th. He's going to hit the pit road.
With all these guys hitting pit road, you miss 1 lap or 2, and it's brutal how much time you lose.
Well, I mean, the thing is, these top 5 drivers out here, they really do have a ton of pace. I mean, the top 5, we noticed it early on. As a group, they were able to pull away from the rest of the field by a matter of 3-4 seconds. So they can kind of take a little bit of a chance and extend this a little bit, but you don't want to go too far because how much that delta really is between new tires and old.
Yeah, and that's kind of a flashback for me. It's just one of those things I kind of remember trying to. I try to be pretty good with tires, thinking that I could go a little bit longer than some of the other guys, and I think it really was the thing that cost me that night racing here.
Well, it's funny because we have seen that with you quite a bit. You're not a slow driver by any means, but it's like, oh man, what's going on with Neil? We try to, we call these races that you run in, and it's like, man, he's real far back in the pack. Well, after watching enough races and broadcasting, so on and so forth, you are always there at the end. You just got to take care of your stuff. You got to have the pace, but you got to know when to apply it. And if you burn up all that pace at the beginning and chew up those tires early, the end of your race is just not going to be successful in most cases. And that's kind of what we see when you're out there. Is you save your stuff till when it matters.
Well, and just kind of talking in turn from last night's race to today, and just talking to some of the guys, it's one of those situations that when you have a really good race and you have a good feeling of what's going on, it doesn't feel like you use 100% of what you got. I mean, kind of like last night at the end there, we've had several guys that are really, really good in the SCAR series, so you just have to use it at the right times to protect your lead and stay ahead and capitalize when you can.
See Mike Rominger making his pit stop, his final stop of the day, lap 97. So he's the most recent driver to hit pit lane. He's also a driver with a lot of pace. So he's going to probably go out here, lay down some flyers, and see what he can do on these fresh tires where everybody else from P7 on up are on the older rubber. With Rominger hitting pit road, I would expect the leaders to roll down here in the next couple of laps at least.
Yeah, you're going to see some real qualifying laps and maybe even some of the fastest laps of the night now.
Rominger in the 13th spot after that stop. Not listed on the lead lap, but everybody will cycle through. What he doesn't want to see happen now is a caution.
That would throw a wild card in the mix there.
And typically we don't. I mean, the races that I've covered with these guys, very, very clean racing. They do run stages, typically lap 25 and 50, depending on the racetrack. Cautions for incidents, few and far between. Last week at Pocono, kind of the exception, but Pocono is its own animal, and it was late in the race. I don't really expect to see a whole lot of calamity here at Kansas Speedway, but anything's possible. Coors out front. He certainly doesn't want to have to deal with Rominger on fresh tires later, but here, 19 laps to go, remains on the Speedway.
You know, Steve, as well as these cars sometimes do, driving sometimes on road courses at Pocono, they are skateboards.
Yeah, I remember when they first did the that big update with them, and a lot of the setups were inaccurate. They weren't really even drivable in many cases. They were extremely scary to drive.
Oh, yeah, it was every corner you go into. Am I going to make it out of it?
Top two separated by 1.78 seconds. Craig White now in third. He's 6.7 seconds off the lead. Also, still not hit pit road. All the way back to Josh Deese in P7. Last pit stop was lap 59.
Wow.
Eddie Rose in the stream chat. HBR TV getting it done. We got a special guest announcer up in the booth, Eddie. It's Neil Quick. Certainly thank him for surprising us with his presence.
Yeah, just doing some testing tonight and got watching some racing and jumped over here. I appreciate you letting me jump in and throw a few words out there and enjoy watching racing with you.
Got into the YouTube black hole and you found HBR TV. Coors coming to 16 to go, still on the track. There's
Man,
no
these guys
shot
are
he can make it to the end, is there?
I don't think so, but to being honest with you, I'm sitting here questioning their fuel and what they're running. If they're running full tanks,
they are on full tanks.
I mean, so you're going, say you pit it at 59 and you're going to lap 120. That's a stretch.
You know, typically what we're talking about, as clean as this league typically is, to just gamble and try to expect a caution to come out, that's a big gamble. But looks like still the top 7 have all opted to stay on the racetrack. Rominger is still a lap down. He just needs to get by Earl Latterell to be the first car a lap down. So if we do get that caution, that'll put Rominger back on the lead lap with an opportunity again to change tires. I think you're right. Neil, you said before that Rominger's probably in the best position here, but time will tell as lap 106 goes on the board. Quick math.
And Steve, these top 7, all these guys pitted around lap 50? No.
The entire top 7 currently, last pit stop was the last caution at the stage. No. Yeah. No, we had a caution. We had a legitimate natural caution. And that was at lap 59. We went back under the green. I think it was lap 62. 61 was the green flag. And they've been under the green since then. 13 laps to go.
Man, I'm punching in numbers here, and I'm going to tell you, they could possibly sneak it in.
I mean, Coors is definitely out of the throttle. He's running 33s. Zlapinski's 33.3. Craig White, 33.2.
They're running it as they're going for it.
Let's ride on board here with Noel Coors and see if he's really lifting out in the corners here. I mean, they're really backing up the entry. They're being easy about it, but they're not clutching the car and coasting.
No, in this situation, I would honestly be killing it even and possibly coasting through the corner, trying to run it out that far.
It was also really interesting. You get used to in iRacing. You don't have that seat of the pants feel that you do in a real car, but you're all visual when you're doing this in the sim. Unless you got a motion rig, that's a different story. But just watching Coors get into the corner off throttle, and then when he picks up the throttle, you can actually see the car rotate mid-corner and drive out. It was actually kind of interesting from this perspective as a broadcaster. Obviously, I've done plenty of laps in the sim myself, but really interesting to see how the balance of the car changes in that corner.
I even noticed that last night running the truck, especially 1 and 2 at Gateway. There is a certain pickup point where you pick up the throttle, and that thing would rotate and just come right up off the corner. If you missed it, it was another story.
So watching Mike Rominger, he's gotten his lap back the old-fashioned way. He is now running 10th on the lead lap. So at this point, at least the top 7, they've made their bed, and they're going to sleep in it, because if they pit now, there's no way they got a shot.
Yeah, I don't think there's any chance at all.
It's just a matter of laps. They don't have enough time. If they pit, yeah, they could be quicker, but they're not going to gain that time back fast enough.
Man, it'd be really interesting to see at the end, talking to these guys, how far they went and what was left in the tank.
Well, we'll see whoever wins if they got time for a burnout.
Yeah, they'll be coasting across the line on fumes.
Coors with a 3.3 second advantage now over the 78 of Gary's Lipinski. Again, both drivers pit on the same lap. Their lap times are pretty different, usually about 1/10 to 2/10 faster for Coors versus the 78. Is the 78 in over-save mode? Does he not think he's got enough? Is Coors going the opposite direction? Is he giving it too much throttle? This could get real interesting. These guys start running out of gas here on the last couple of laps.
Yeah, between all 7 of them, it's just a wild card.
But if someone's not paying attention and that starts happening, maybe we get a caution, things get changed up, go to a green-white checker. We've got 2 possibilities for that if we need them.
Man, will the sim throw a caution? It just depends if they're on the track and out of fuel.
Well, I'm saying if someone runs out and someone's not paying attention and just hits them and causes a wreck. You know, I don't really
I
know
can see that.
who else is that close together. We cycle through here: Norman Clark, Mike Hylett, Josh Deese, Frank Gramuglia. I mean, all those guys that haven't pit, there's nobody around them.
Yeah, these guys are spaced out pretty good.
Keep a close eye on it here. Coming to 6 to go. Noel Coors still with the top spot. Take a look at lap times again.
So is the 13 and 8th is the first guy that actually pitted?
Right now it is, yeah, Frank Gramuglia, P8. Rominger is 9th. Running pretty fast laps in behind him, but 3.5 seconds back with about 4 to go. He might catch him, but Gramuglia is almost a lap behind the leader. 23 seconds back from Coors. 2.5 back from Josh Deese, and another 8.25 to Harold Decker in 6th.
I think Romeo should have pitted about 25 or 30 laps to go.
Well, Rominger pitted lap 97.
Okay.
So that would have been right on the mark from what you're saying. I think it was 23, 24 laps ago. Four laps to go from Kansas Speedway. Noel Coors out in front. He's been there ever since he took over that top spot from Gary's Lipinski. It's turning into a fuel mileage race. We've had some drivers a little bit off sequence. I don't know if Mike Rominger just forgot to pit on that caution or thought that most of the guys would stay out. Unfortunately for him, everybody hit pit lane, and he was out there all by his lonesome. Worked out good for a little while. Led a few laps before he started to give up positions. Slid back to 5th and decided late in the run here, lap 97, to finally say, you know what, let's give it a shot here. Take tires, take fuel, see what happens. So far, it's not terrible for Mike Rominger. He's still got the top 10 pretty much locked in, running 9th here with 2 to go. But a shot at a win, probably not going to happen. As actually Rominger does go by Josh Deese. So now Frank Gramuglia moves up to the 7th position. And he's working on 9 of Decker. No, Decker is way further ahead. This is a lap car he's working around. White flag waves. Noel Coors one more time around. Let's stay with him. Coors down the back straightaway for the final time. Big advantage out the back.
Power.
Still in the throttle. You hear that motor running. He could probably coast to the finish line now. Checkered flag. Noel Coors wins it here at Kansas Speedway. Gets the fuel to last all the way to the finish. Second place, Gary Zlapinski. Craig White third. Norman Clark finishes fourth. Michael Howlett takes the fifth position.
So they ended up going 60 laps on fuel.
60 laps on a tank of fuel. Be curious to see what they've got left. Scores have enough for the donuts and the burnouts.
He looks pretty good right now. Grant Stadol, that was a good run.
Just like that, the celebration is over. We're going to step aside here, get a break out of the way. Hopefully have our top three available for interviews. Stay with us, guys. We'll be back after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Kansas Speedway, the Old Fart Sim Racing Concrete Floors Next Gen Cup Series. Noel Kors takes the top spot. We're going to try and get these guys into the broadcast booth. We're trying to get everything sorted here. Some guys with the Discord link, some guys without. Noel Kors, though, has already joined us in the broadcast booth. Noel, it's Steve at the HBR TV booth. You got a good copy?
Yeah, I got you loud and clear, bud.
No, man, you're like a tactician out there. We didn't see a ton of you early on. You started fifth, weren't too aggressive, didn't beat up the car, real good on equipment early on, but all of a sudden you're like a shotgun going out of a gun here. You took the lead pretty quickly. I know Rominger had some older tires, but you never looked back. Since that restart, you had some fresher tires. Tell us about your night. Tell us about the pass, and did you have enough fuel at the end?
Yeah, I was a little worried. I had a gallon left at the end of it, but I ran a little bit different line than everybody did. I kind of ran the bottom line and messed with my master cylinders a little bit, tried to get it to rotate a little with a brake. But other than that, yeah, ain't every day I run Gary and Craig and them guys down, but worked out tonight.
You definitely had some speed out there. Very impressed. Neil Quick from the SCAR Premier Series popped in the booth and talked about it. He was impressed. I was impressed. You guys are certainly fast out here after talking with Earl in the Glen this past weekend. He's not lying. To come up here and finish top 10, that's a feat in itself. To take a checkered flag, a whole different level. Nicely done, sir. Congratulations. It was a good race to watch. Before we let you get out of the booth, though, is there anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Old Farts for sure, and Craig and Gary Slapinski, Earl, Harold for getting the setup together. Harold's the one that does most of the work on the setups and stuff. So, and I'd like to thank you guys. Appreciate you guys broadcasting us. Have a good night. Thanks, man.
Thanks, Noel. And again, I appreciate you guys for having me. This one was a fun one to do with this whole series. I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. So thank you.
Yep, 10-4. Have a good night.
2. Next up, we got Gary Slapinski. I hope I said it right this time. I messed it up about 12 different times, Gary. It's Steve in the booth, though. You got a copy?
Yes.
So congratulations on P2. I know it's probably not what you wanted. You looked real good out there at the front of the field. I think you had the fastest lap of the race, that's for sure. But P2 just came up a little bit short. Was there anything you could have done to catch Noel, or was he just saving it to the end?
No, he was definitely saving his right front more than I was. I was watching him being behind him and kind of learned a lot what he was doing there, and I was just driving it in way too hard and just tore up my right front. I had damage and didn't really fix it. I still had like 8 seconds of damage. I think that was kind of hurt me a little bit, exit off. But other than that, it felt really, really good. I mean, I could drive the wheels off of it at the beginning there, yeah, sure, but that was not helping in the long run.
Well, you said you burned the right front off. We saw early on in the run, these cars seemed to be really loose. A lot of oversteer on corner exit. Was it just a matter of getting some heat into the tires? Once that happened, it started to tighten up?
To me, it just felt like it was turning, and all of a sudden you just lose a nose and it wants to go up to the wall. That's what it felt like to me. Because it felt okay, and I was coming off, and all of a sudden you start losing the nose, pushing, and you're like, oh, I got to roll out of throttle. And if you don't, you're going to hit the wall. And I did at least 3 times today. So there's a line, there's a fine line. And you just actually running what Noel's running, you don't have to worry about that. So
we did notice that the weather-wise, there was a stiff breeze, about 12 miles an hour here at Kansas. Of course, we are in the Midwest. That's not uncommon, but I kind of wonder if that crosswind had anything to do with all of a sudden the thing slides up the racetrack.
I'm sure it doesn't help. I'll tell you that very much. Because if you're sitting there turning, all of a sudden it goes snaps on you, then hey, you know that wind's not going to help at all.
Well, nonetheless, you look good out there. Led some laps, finished P2. Congratulations. Good luck going into next week. Before we let you go, anybody you need to get thanked?
Oh, I'd like to thank you for broadcasting this for the Old Farts. We really appreciate it. These guys, we all really deserve this. These guys really worked hard for this. And I'd like to, thank you for doing it, and thank the Old Farts for everything they do. Down to Craig, Earl, everybody, all my teammates out there. They're really awesome. These guys drive their hearts out. They drive like they're 20-year-olds out here. And you couldn't tell the difference. So you do a great job, and I really appreciate for everything they do. And I'd like to thank my wife and kids for letting me do this every night, because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be able to do this.
Hey, you and me both, brother. You and me both.
Yes, sir.
And
Thank you.
As far as that goes, you guys being old farts, I think it kind of helps the on-track performance, because you guys all have a little bit more patience than the young guys do, because this room was full of 25-year-olds. We'd have a totally different race than how good they are.
Yeah, we definitely will. I mean, I joined a couple of leagues, and you could tell the difference. The young guns, they just throw it right in there, and they slide up against you, rub it up against you, slide it, hit your wall, and these guys give plenty of room. And if you see somebody quicker, I just let him go. I see Noel coming there, and I was like, yeah, maybe I can race with him. And I was like, you know what? Let him go. And I just let him go. And I was like, he's definitely quicker. Maybe I can learn something behind him. And I did. So it's really good.
Well, there you go. Well, Gary, again, thanks for chatting with us, man. Good luck next week.
Thank you.
Next, we'll go to Craig White, third place finisher here at Kansas Speedway. Craig, it's Steve in the booth. You got a copy?
I sure do, buddy.
Craig, third place finish. I don't know how you did it, man. You were involved in at least a couple wrecks, I thought. Tell us about those, and then talk about how you made your way back through the field.
It was good all night long. I enjoyed that race. Went a couple laps down and got fortunate to get them back. And I knew I wasn't going to catch some guys up front and need to save gas, so I just kind of, let off early and let her roll. Hit the wall a couple times, but for the most part, it worked out.
We did see early on you went 2 laps down after that incident. Gary was kind enough to check up to get you 1 lap back, and then all of a sudden the lucky dog comes around, so that worked out quite well in your favor, but then you still had to work your way through the field. So very impressive run out of yourself, sir. Nicely done here at Kansas Speedway. Was there tire strategy coming into tonight? Did things change after that incident on track, or did you just kind of stick to the game plan?
Just to the game plan, and it just seemed to work out good, so I was very fortunate.
Well, again, Craig, nicely done. Congratulations on P3. We'll let you get out of here, but before we do, is there anyone you need to thank?
Yeah, I'd like to thank God. He allows us to do all this. That's first and foremost.
Good place to start.
Yeah, and I'd like to thank Old Farts, you guys for putting it on. Concrete Floors Company, awesome. They jumped on board this season, so yeah. I guess that's it.
All right, Craig. Well, again, congratulations. Thanks for chatting with us. Maybe we'll talk to you next week.
Sounds good, Steve. Thanks for putting it on, bud.
Take care.
Thank you.
That was Craig White, your third place finisher here at Kansas Speedway. Go down through the rest of the running order here. The race results, that is. Of course, we just talked to our top 3, Noel Kors, Gary Slapinski, and Craig White. Fourth place finisher, that went to none other than Norman Clark. Michael Howlett was 5th. Harold Decker was P6. Frank Gramuglia was 7th. Mike Rominger 8th. Paul Witt was 9th. 10th went to Josh Deese. Earl Latterell finished 11th. Had a tough night tonight. 12th was Alan McEwen. 13th, David Crum. Oh, where'd it go? And we're back. Sorry about that. It's acting up again. Okay. David Crum, 13th. Larry Boyle was 14th. Joseph Green finished in the 15th spot. 16th was John Schuneman. 17th, James Randall III. And 18th was Corey Gray. 19th, 20th, and 21st. Those drivers are David Wasselchuk, Chris Vickery, Brad Allison. Not sure if they were here in an admin role. Did not take the green flag. So possibly here either as viewers or admins or both. Kind of have to be both if you're going to be an admin, but classified nonetheless. But that's your race results here from Kansas Speedway. Glad we got this one in. I was kind of looking forward to this. Sorry that I missed last week, but again, thanks to Pit Stop TV for coming in the clutch and doing a masterful job covering it for everybody. Look forward to seeing you guys next week. We've got a lot of races coming up this week and next. That said, tomorrow night, we've got the LSR Truck Series kicking off. Their first race at Atlanta Motor Speedway. They have a 40 truck field to contend with, and we all know how that one's going to go. It's either going to be absolute chaos or an absolutely amazing race. Nonetheless, you should tune in for it. I believe we go live at their central time. I think it's 8 p.m. their time or 9 p.m. mine. Nonetheless, best way to get around figuring all that out, find us on Facebook.com/HBRTV1. Like, follow, share, subscribe, turn on notifications, because that way, if I don't know the time and you don't know the time, you'll at least get that notification that we're going to go live. We are live, whatever the case may be, and you won't miss the race. Fridays, we're off. Saturday, we're at Talladega with the Numb Thumbs Racing League ARCA Series. That season's second race into their playoffs. That one's just coming to a conclusion here in the next 4 or 5 races, I believe. And then Monday, I believe, Sebring in the LSR Sports Car Series. Then Tuesday, we go to the Superior Class Auto Racing Premier Series. We've got tons of action in store throughout the next few weeks for certain. We are a busy broadcast company. So thank you guys all for joining us here in the broadcast tonight. Stream chat. Big thanks to Neil Quick, special guest and surprise announcer, popping into the booth, giving us some analysis of this track, the Next Gen Cup car, because frankly, I don't have a whole lot of it when it comes to the Next Gen car. He does. Really appreciate his insight on that. Certainly added to the broadcast, and big thanks goes out to him. And again, thanks to Old Fart Sim Racing for having me come on board and do this. It's appreciated for certain, but it's always good to be busy, and it's good to be watching racing, whether it's real or sim racing. It doesn't seem to matter. It's competition, and it's fun. Thank you guys all for watching. I'm Steve Singer with HBR TV, congratulating Noel Coors on the win tonight. Catch us in the next one, everybody. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.